So today we are going to discuss about biological classification, and as we discussed from the beginning that from the living world we introduced a imaginary character called Divya. So and for previous class each and every topic, how to remember with a character, all those things we have discussed. Today we are going to discuss about biological classification. So under the biological classification we have around 4-5 topics, and each 5 topics has subtopics also. So she will explain each and every topic. Let us discuss each and every topic in detail.
So firstly, Divya met Aristotle. So he was the first to do classification scientifically based on morphological characters. He classified plants into trees, herbs and shrubs, and animals into blooded animals and non-blooded animals.
Red-blooded.
Red-blooded animals and non-red-blooded animals.
Okay.
So this was the first classification Aristotle did. And after Aristotle, a scientist named Linnaeus. So Divya met Linnaeus. So he did 2 kingdom classification.
Who?
Linnaeus.
Okay.
And after Linnaeus, R.H. Whittaker. He is also a scientist. So he did 5 kingdom classification. That 5 kingdoms are Monera, Protista, Fungi, Plantae and Animalia.
These are all the 5
kingdoms.
So who classified this?
R.H. Whittaker.
Whittaker. Okay.
So he did this classification based on cell structure,
Okay.
nature of cell,
Okay.
mode of nutrition, habitat, mode of reproduction and evolutionary relationships.
So based on this, the Whittaker classified these 5.
These 5.
Okay.
Based on these characteristics: cell structure,
cell structure,
nature of cell.
nature of cell. What is the difference between cell structure and nature of cell?
Cell structure is that how is the cell is structured, or
Okay. What could be the nature of the cell and?
nature of cell is the substance of the cell, which
So
is made of chitin or polysaccharide.
Oh, like that.
Made
That
of
is
cell,
the okay,
structure.
nature of the cell.
Nature of cell.
Okay.
So firstly structure and nature of cell,
Okay.
and then mode of nutrition.
Mode of nutrition in the sense how it takes food.
Is it autotrophic or heterotrophic?
Okay.
And habitat.
Okay.
It whether it lives in marshy areas
where
or
it is living. So based on that also he classified. Okay.
and then the
Reproduction.
mode of reproduction and evolutionary relationships.
So based on this, Whittaker classified
These 5 kingdom
this 5 kingdom
classification.
classification. Okay.
But Linnaeus did not use these 5 criterias.
Okay.
So how did Linnaeus do? How did Linnaeus made the 2 kingdom classification? Is he only based on cell? He classified only based on cell wall.
Only based on cell wall.
Only based on cell wall. Whether it has cell wall, if the organism is having cell wall, it is classified as Plantae, and if the organism does not have had cell wall, it is classified as Animalia.
Oh, only based on cell wall Linnaeus classified, wherein he having very detailed classification. Okay, fine.
So these are the 5 kingdoms. So now we will go in detail about Monera. So Monera is divided into 2 subtopics, which is Archaebacteria and Eubacteria.
Okay.
So now we will see about Archaebacteria.
So what is about Monera? What exactly the Monera?
Monera is all prokaryotic organisms.
So this is prokaryotic.
Yes.
Can you write on that? Prokaryotic.
Prokaryotic.
So that Monera is prokaryotic. Okay. What is prokaryotic?
Prokaryote means prokaryotes does not have a defined nuclear membrane or membrane for other organelles.
Okay. Okay, fine.
Mainly does not have nuclear membrane.
Okay.
Whereas eukaryotes have a defined nuclear membrane.
Okay.
And Protista includes all unicellular eukaryotes.
Okay. So what about fungi?
Yeah. Fungi has different nature of cell wall. It had cell wall made of chitin and polysaccharides.
Cell wall different, huh?
Different cell wall
Okay.
made of chitin,
Okay.
CH, and polysaccharides.
Okay.
It had different cell wall. So
Okay. The Plantae? Animalia?
Plantae are eukaryotic organisms and autotrophs, and they had cellulosic cell wall.
Okay. Okay.
Animalia did not had cell wall and it was heterotrophic.
So no cell wall.
No cell wall and heterotrophic.
Okay.
So now we'll see about archaebacteria.
Okay.
So archaebacteria can live in extreme conditions. Archaebacteria can live in extreme conditions.
Okay.
So like they live in archaebacteria, those who are living in salty areas are known as halophils.
Okay.
And hot springs, those who are living in hot springs are known as thermoacidophils. And those who are living in marshy areas like dung of cow and buffaloes, they are marshy areas like that. These bacteria are known as methanogens.
Okay. Oh. So archaebacteria has 3 different types.
Not 3 different types. The bacteria living in those areas are called as halophils, thermoacidophils, methanogens.
Oh,
that is not, they are not types. According to the area, they have mentioned a name for that bacteria. So now, why archaebacteria can live in extreme conditions? It is because they had different cell wall structure to bear that conditions, extreme conditions.
So it can adopt, the cell wall can adopt
to extreme conditions.
Any extreme conditions, archaebacteria. Okay.
And methanogens are responsible to produce methane gas.
Okay.
So some amount of methane gas is produced by methanogens. So they live in gut of cows and buffaloes.
Okay.
And they produce
so it produces methane.
Biogas from the dung of the cow and buffaloes.
Okay.
So this is what is about archaebacteria.
Okay.
So now we will see about eubacteria. So eubacteria, there are 3 types of eubacteria, 3 kinds of First one is cyanobacteria,
Okay.
and then chemosynthetic autotrophs and heterotrophic bacteria.
Okay.
So firstly cyanobacteria. So cyanobacteria, which is also known as blue-green algae.
Okay.
Cyanobacteria is also known as blue-green algae.
Blue-green algae. Okay.
So cyanobacteria is autotrophic bacteria.
Okay.
It contains chlorophyll A pigment. So that is why it is autotrophic. Many plants, green plants contain chlorophyll A pigment.
So chlorophyll A pigment. So it produces its own food.
Yes.
Okay.
So in chlorophyll there are many types. Chlorophyll A, chlorophyll B, chlorophyll C. So this bacteria have chlorophyll A pigment.
Okay.
So many green plants have that green chlorophyll pigment. So to produce food.
Food. Okay.
And cyanobacteria can be unicellular, colonial, or filamentous. So cyanobacteria exists in these forms. It can be unicellular, it can be filamentous, or it can be colonial.
So in these 3 forms, the cyanobacteria
exists. Yeah.
Okay.
It can live in some bacteria can live in marine conditions, and some bacteria can live in fresh water.
Okay.
So that filamentous cyanobacteria are surrounded by a gelatinous sheath.
Okay. That
Filamentous cyanobacteria. And these cyanobacteria can also form blooms in polluted water. It can flower in polluted water.
Okay.
some of the cyanobacteria can fix nitrogen, atmospheric nitrogen.
What is fixing atmospheric nitrogen?
Fixing atmospheric nitrogen means plants cannot absorb nitrogen from the atmosphere directly.
Okay.
So it needs some help of some bacteria or help of some agents.
Okay.
So these bacteria present in the soil can make this atmospheric nitrogen available for these plants.
So it absorbs nitrogen and giving it to the plant.
Absorbs nitrogen, processes it and gives it to the plant through roots.
Through roots. Okay. So that's called nitrogen fix.
Nitrogen fix.
Which ones? The cyanobacteria.
Cyanobacteria.
Okay.
Some cyanobacteria, not all. Some cyanobacteria. In plants also, some plants can directly absorb nitrogen. Some plants cannot absorb nitrogen.
Okay. Okay.
So these nitrogen fixing cyanobacteria have particular special cells called heterocysts.
Which one? Okay.
Cyanobacteria. Nitrogen fixing cyanobacteria.
Okay.
So example of nitrogen fixing cyanobacteria are Anabaena and Nostoc.
Anabaena and Nostoc. Those two things. What? Two bacteria.
Are two examples of bacteria.
Okay.
Which can fix atmospheric nitrogen. Nitrogen.
Okay.
So now we are going to chemosynthetic autotrophs.
Okay.
So chemosynthetic bacteria. So they, like the word itself mentions chemo. Chemo means some chemical agents like nitrates, nitrites.
The words, chemosynthetic. So there are a lot of chemicals inside it. Okay.
So these bacteria oxidizes nitrates and ammonia and use there is some energy released in that. So this bacteria uses that energy for their ATP production.
What is ATP?
ATP is adenosine triphosphate.
Okay.
So that gives energy.
Okay.
So this bacteria, by oxidizing that nitrates and ammonia, it absorbs that energy for its ATP production.
Okay.
So therefore it is autotrophic. It is not dependent on others. It produces its own food.
Okay.
So it, like nitrates, various inorganic substances are oxidized by some bacteria.
Okay.
Like nitrogen, phosphorus, iron and sulfur, examples of that. So we have seen cyanobacteria, chemosynthetic autotrophs, and now we are seeing heterotrophic bacteria.
Okay.
So heterotrophic bacteria are the majority of bacteria in Monera. Majority of bacteria present in.
So in Monera family, then heterotrophic.
Monera kingdom.
Heterotrophic is available
more bacteria.
More bacteria is available in that
yes.
kingdom. Okay.
So majority of heterotrophic bacteria are decomposers. Like they decompose dead leaves, dead plants like that. So these heterotrophic bacteria are helpful in making curd from milk. For example, lactobacillus bacteria, it is heterotrophic bacteria.
Okay, so the bacteria which uses to make curd
and production of antibiotics.
Okay.
And fixing nitrogen, it also fixes nitrogen. So it is heterotrophic nitrogen fixing bacteria.
Okay.
And this is
cyanobacteria, it is also fixing nitrogen.
Some bacteria
are fixing any nitrogen.
This is not fixing any nitrogen.
Is it? Okay, so this you said some of the cyanobacteria is fixing nitrogen. And here also these bacteria is fixing nitrogen.
Some of the bacteria fix nitrogen, heterotrophic. The bacteria fixing nitrogen, this is known as heterotrophic nitrogen fixing bacteria.
Okay.
And cyanobacteria, if cyanobacteria fixes nitrogen, it is known as autotrophic nitrogen fixing bacteria.
Okay. What is the difference between those two?
Heterotrophic depends on the food for other.
So it is not
depending for food. It is not.
It is depending on food.
It is depending on food.
And is not
depending on food.
What are the two examples you said?
Anabaena, Nostoc.
Anabaena, Nostoc using nitrogen fixing. Okay.
So they are helpful in production of curd and production of antibiotics and even for fixing nitrogen. And these heterotrophic bacteria can also cause diseases.
Is it?
Yes.
Okay. What kind of diseases?
Like chlorella, tetanus, typhoid and citrus canker. So some of the diseases it can also produce. These heterotrophic bacteria can also produce some diseases.
Diseases.
So this is Monera. So we have seen Archaebacteria, Neubacteria, Cyanobacteria, chemosynthetic and heterotrophic bacteria.
Okay.
So these bacteria can divide by fission.
Divided by?
Fission.
Okay.
Fission is dividing into two. It is splitting itself. So under unfavorable conditions, these bacteria produce spores in it.
Okay.
In reproduction.
Complete Monera, you are talking about complete Monera.
Complete Monera.
Okay.
And by sexual means, it transfers DNA from one bacteria to another bacteria.
So, it transferring DNA from one to another is called okay.
So, this is what is Monera.
Okay.
So, now we will go to Protista. In Protista, there are 4 subtopics.
Okay.
Chrysophytes.
So, these are all bacteria.
Yes.
This is also bacteria.
No.
So,
these are organisms.
This is bacteria completely. Okay.
So this is cryophytes, dinoflagellates, euglena, slime mouths and protozoans.
Okay.
So firstly we will see chrysophytes.
So Protista is unicellular. So this Protista is unicellular, right?
Yeah, unicellular eukaryotes.
What is eukaryote means?
Eukaryote have defined a nuclear membrane. It has nuclear membrane.
This is not having nuclear membrane. That you said that is prokaryote. Eukaryote means it has
nuclear membrane.
Nuclear membrane. Okay.
So these are unicellular. Unicellular having a single cell.
Okay.
So firstly we will see chrysophytes.
So these are all multicellular.
It may be multicellular or unicellular.
Okay. This is maybe unicellular.
Unicellular or multicellular.
These are all completely
unicellular.
Okay.
So first we will see about chrysophytes. So these are these live in fresh water as well as marine chrysophytes.
So this will live in
fresh water as well as marine.
Both waters it can live.
It can live both waters it can live.
Both waters. Okay.
So examples of chrysophytes are diatoms and desmids. Diatoms and desmids are also known as golden algae.
Okay.
So these chrysophytes,
Okay.
So these can float passively without the use of anything, without the use of flagella, without the use of pseudopodia or without the use of feet, everything. It just floats on the running water.
Okay.
And most of the chrysophytes are photosynthetic in nature. They can produce its own food, autotrophs.
Okay.
And we have seen 2 examples, right? Diatoms and desmids, which is golden algae.
Diatoms and
desmids.
The names and all I am unable to remember actually. Diatoms, can you write over here? Diatoms and?
Diatoms.
Okay, so diatoms and desmids. Okay.
So in this diatoms, they have a soap box like structure, cell wall. So the cell wall is a slow box like structure, like it has 2 thin overlapping layers. 2 thin, one layer is like this, other layer overlaps on the
so it
first
has 2
layer.
layers.
2 layers, like soap
having
box.
2 layers.
Yes.
Okay.
So in soap box, 2 layers. So diatoms have soap box like structure made of silica.
Which one?
Diatoms.
Made of silica. So soap box, there are 2 layers. It is made of silica. Okay.
So this silica, this substance, which is indestructible, which cannot be destroyed for many years.
Is it?
Yes.
Okay. So it is floating like on the water.
It is floating on the water.
Okay.
If the cell is even dead, the material of the cell wall will be present still remains for longer time.
Okay.
And it is
both
useful.
or only in diatoms?
No, only in
diatoms.
Only in diatoms.
So we are talking about diatoms. So only that diatoms you are talking about, soap box,
silica.
layer and silica, diatoms. Diatoms coming under
Chrysophytes.
chrysophytes. Very good. Okay.
So now
Anything discussed about desmids?
they did not discuss about desmids.
So only diatoms.
Diatoms.
Okay.
So this structure, that silica structure, has left behind cell wall deposits. It can stay for longer years. It
Okay.
can be present for longer years. So on the earth, the cell wall can be indestructible for many years.
Okay.
So it is present on the earth
Okay.
for many years. So the places with these structures, these silica deposits, are known as diatomaceous earth.
Okay. Even though because of this cell wall, it is longer time period. It is remains in the earth. So because of that, we are saying it is diatomaceous earth.
Yes.
Okay.
So in some places where the deposits remains.
Okay.
So being gritty, though soil is used in polishing, filtration of oils and syrups. So that
Which one? Diatomaceous earth.
yes, that substance.
So the diatomaceous earth found by that diatoms.
Diatoms.
So even though it is dead, because of the cell wall and the soap kind of the structure,
because of silica
on top, so it may be like a layer kind of the thing. So it is used for
polishing,
polishing and
filtration.
filtration. Okay.
So these diatoms are chief producers in oceans.
Okay.
So in oceans it will be in large amounts.
Large amount is available. Okay.
So this is what is chrysophytes. And now we will go to dinoflagellates.
So you know nothing mentioned about desmids.
No. So now dinoflagellates. So in dinoflagellates, the organisms are only marine.
Only in marine.
Only marine.
So here we talked about Protista, it's available both normal water as well as marine water.
No. Chrysophytes are available for normal and
okay, this one is available in both normal and marine water. So this is available only in marine water.
yes.
Okay.
And they are photosynthetic. Dinoflagellates are photosynthetic. Cell wall is made up of cellulosic cell wall. So there it was silica.
So this is silica.
This here cellulosic.
Cellulosic cell wall. Okay.
It is also known as cellulose plates.
Cellulose plates. Okay.
It has two flagella.
Which one? This one.
Dinoflagellates.
It has two
flagella.
Okay. What is flagella?
Flagella is a hair-like structure which help the organism to move or float or catch.
Here it is not having any flagella.
Yes.
This is having flagella. Okay.
It has two flagellas.
Okay.
Two flagellas. So one flagella is longitudinal, and the other flagella is transversely in a furrow between the wall plates.
I don't understand what you are saying. Two flagella. You said two flagella.
Two flagella.
One flagella is
Longitudinal. It is straight.
Straight. Okay. Another flagella
is present between the furrow between a wall plates. There is some.
Okay, you just tell me. I can understand. I can able to understand it.
Furrow.
Two flagella. One is
Longitudinal.
Another one is what they have given.
Transversely in a furrow between. Transversely in a furrow between wall plates.
Okay. Between wall plates. Okay.
So the next one is next.
That's
one.
all about it here.
Dinoflagellates. No. So because of the dinoflagellates, many seas appear red because of the presence of dinoflagellates.
Okay. In marine. Okay.
So they appear red in color.
Because of this.
Because due to rapid multiplication of these dinoflagellates in more amount, if it is present in more amount, the sea appears red.
Oh, in red color.
Particularly with the organism Goniolix.
What is that?
It is the example of dinoflagellate.
Oh, that
It is,
it
that
gives
organ-
red
yes.
color. What is that? Can you write here? Goniolix.
Yes.
Okay. It is interesting, like dinoflagellate, inside that one organism, that is the one type of
And
organism.
the type of, it is an example of dinoflagellate.
Example of that. So because of this,
The sea,
marine sea is on
appear
top of that, we can be able to see red
red color due to its rapid multiplication.
Mm-hmm.
And these organisms, if it multiply rapidly, it can kill other marine organisms.
Okay. Other marine organisms will kill it.
Yes,
Okay.
because of its rapid multiplication. So that's all about dinoflagellates. So now we have seen chrysophytes and dinoflagellates, and now we will see euglena. About euglena. ஒரு நிமிஷம் லைட்டி நீங்கள் ஒன்று சொல்ல அது இப்போ சொல்லிடலாம். Eubacteria is also known as true bacteria. So here Eubacteria is also known as true bacteria. The meaning of U is true.
Oh, U means true.
Yes.
You can write it.
True bacteria.
So other bacteria are false bacteria, right?
Not like that.
Okay. Then why
Because-
they mentioned this true bacteria? Then it should be false bacteria, right? But why they have mentioned as true bacteria? Okay, leave it.
Okay.
Because some there they have mentioned as true bacteria. I thought that some bacteria might be false bacteria. Okay.
So now we will see about euglena. So euglena are freshwater organisms.
Okay.
So this live both marine and freshwater. So dinoflagellates can live in marine.
Marine.
So euglena is freshwater.
The true. You hear true.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if-
The meaning of that one is true, but I don't know the actual reason why they have given this one is particularly as true.
Okay. So this is living in
Freshwater.
fresh water. Maybe you can relate with the euglena. U is true, so that it is living in the fresh water. Okay, tell me.
So these live in stagnant waters where the water is stagnant. It is not moving. The euglena can live in mostly it lives in stagnant water,
Okay.
and these euglena do not have cell wall.
Okay.
So here chrysophytes have cell wall made of silica.
Silica here.
Dinoflagellates made of cell wall of cellulosic plates.
Cellulosic plates. Here.
Euglena do not have cell wall.
Okay.
So instead of cell wall, euglena has a protein-rich layer, which is known as pellicle. This pellicle gives flexibility to the cell wall, to the outer protection of euglena.
Okay. That acts
That is
as a
made
cell
of
wall, maybe that-
pellicle.
Pellicle. Okay, you can write it pellicle. Pellicle is like cell wall. It acts as like cell.
Yeah, protein-rich layer.
Protein which is.
Protein layer. So pellicle. So this euglena have two flagellas.
Okay.
One is long.
This is also having
I have
two
two
flagellas.
flagellas. One is longitudinal, and one is transversely between the furrow of between the plates.
Here.
So this euglena have two flagella. One is long and one is short.
Okay.
One flagella is too long and one is short. So this euglena have two characteristics. In the presence of sunlight, it acts as photosynthetic. It produces its own food. In the absence of sunlight, it depends on other organisms for food. It is both autotrophic.
Whenever possible, it produces. Whenever there is no sunlight, it gets from the other organisms.
It is both autotrophic and heterotrophic.
Oh, this one.
Yes.
Okay. But these things are they are themselves producing food.
In chrysophytes, some of the organisms are photosynthetic. They can produce food. In dinoflagellates, all are photosynthetic.
Okay. Then how some of them in the sense means remaining?
Remaining maybe autotrophs or maybe heterotrophs or parasites like that.
Okay.
Mostly they are photosynthetic. but they have not mentioned all the organisms are
So
photosynthetic.
they have not mentioned anything like that.
But in dinoflagellates, they have mentioned all are photosynthetic.
Okay.
And in Euglena, they are both
During sunlight, that's they have given very clearly that during sunlight they can produce its own food.
in the absence of sunlight.
Absence of sunlight, it depends on other organisms.
So these Euglena have pigments identical to higher plants. The higher plants have pigments like chlorophyll A, B, C, carotenoids, xanthophylls to produce its
Like
own
bigger
food.
plants.
La,
The same thing is available here also.
in Euglena.
Euglena. Maybe this evolved over a period of time as a big trees and all.
Yeah,
Might
maybe,
be.
maybe. So now we'll see about slime molds. So these slime molds are saprophytic in nature.
Saprophytic.
Yeah.
What is that?
Saprophytic means it gets nutrition by decaying the leaves and
Okay,
decay.
okay. By decaying.
So it moves along decayed twigs and leaves, engulfing organic matter. So by that it gets its nutrition.
Okay.
And these slime molds, in suitable condition, it aggregates.
Okay.
It separates.
Separates.
It separates into plasmodium. Like it separates into aggregates into plasmodium. And this plasmodium can spread into several. This plasmodium can spread into several feet. So because of because it produces its own aggregates. So this is under suitable favorable conditions. It produces aggregates. Under unfavorable conditions, this plasmodium differentiates and forms fruiting bodies.
I am not getting it clearly, this one. Can you tell me again how it is? This plasmodium,
Under suitable conditions.
suitable conditions.
ஒரு நிமிஷம். Under suitable conditions, they form an aggregation,
Okay.
which is known as plasmodium.
Under suitable condition. Aggregation in the sense it's combining, joining, or what you mean aggregation?
Aggregation means it spreads, right?
Aggregation is nothing but combining.
Combining.
Aggregation is in the sense it's coming together and one forming all those things. That is called aggregation. Segregation is the thing. Segregation is the separation. Aggregation is
Combining.
close together.
So, maybe under suitable conditions, all the cells may aggregate, and they produce their progeny. They may grow to several feet.
So yeah, might be that kind of maybe reproduction under suitable condition. Everything come together and they may produce much. Maybe they may grow. That is called aggregation. I think.
Grow to several feet. And that is under favorable conditions. And under unfavorable conditions, this plasmodium, that aggregation, differentiates and form fruiting bodies. So there under favorable condition it spread to several feet. Here under unfavorable conditions it forms fruiting bodies.
Fruiting body is present.
Fruiting bodies means in the sense like it produces spores at their tips, like that.
Okay.
It produces like their spores.
During unfavorable condition. Okay. Okay, leave it.
They remain with them itself.
Okay.
That spores will be remaining at the tips of this plasmodium.
Okay.
So these spores have true walls.
Okay.
So in Euglena actually there is no cell wall, but their spores have true wall. So these spores are extremely resistant to various conditions, various extreme conditions, and survive for many years.
Like this.
Yeah.
Like diatoms.
In diatoms only their layers, layers remain constant, but here the spores remain for many years.
That spores. Okay.
Under which it's making under unfavorable condition.
Okay.
So these spores, which are present at the tip of the plasmodium, are dispersed through air.
Okay.
They are dispersed through air. Yeah, it is spreading through air, which is known as anemochorus. Anemochorus means the spores, anemochorus means the substance which spreads through air and produces its own growth.
It is spreading through air. It again grows.
That is anemochorus.
Okay. Anemochorus
spreading through air. So that is about slime molds.
Okay.
So now we will see about protozoans. These protozoans are primitive relatives of animals.
Okay.
So at the starting of the evolution of animals, these protozoans were relatives of animals.
Okay.
So these protozoans are heterotrophs. So these were some are photosynthetic. Here all were photosynthetic. Here photosynthetic and heterotrophic. It was autotrophic and heterotrophic. And slime molds were saprophytic. It can go through decayed leaves and twigs and everything. Here protozoans are heterotrophic. It depends for food on other organisms. So these protozoans can be parasites or predators. Parasites means it can live in other organisms by taking their food and shelter and everything. So protozoans are subdivided into four. Amoeboid protozoans, flagellated protozoans, ciliated protozoans and sporozoans. So firstly we will see about amoeboid protozoans. So here amoeboid protozoans can live in fresh water. Some organisms can live in fresh water and some can live in sea water and some can live in moist soil.
So anywhere it lives?
Not all organisms can live anywhere.
Okay.
Some organisms can live in fresh water. Some organisms can live in marine.
In that amoeboid?
Amoeboid protozoans. So this amoeboid move by pseudopodia. Pseudopodia is nothing but false feet. It creates its own false feet to move around. So example of amoeboid protozoans is amoeba. For example, amoeba, which is very. So in the amoeboid protozoans, they can live in freshwater or marine or anything, right? So particularly those live in marine forms. So the marine forms of amoeboid protozoans have silica.
Okay.
Have silica shells.
Silica we have seen here also, right?
Yes.
Diatoms, it has silica. Here also it has silica.
Silica, those who are living in marine amoeboid protozoans have silica shells.
Here also that diatoms also marine, right?
No, they were marine as well as freshwater.
Freshwater, okay.
So for example, amoeba is an example, and Entamoeba histolytica is another example, which is a parasite, Entamoeba histolytica.
Okay.
So this is amoeboid protozoans.
So amoeboid protozoans, can you explain again? What are
amoeboid protozoans may be freshwater. It can be marine. It can be in moist soil.
So different places they live.
So they produce their own feet, which is known as pseudopodia, false feet, pseudopodia.
Okay.
And
all the four, marine, who is living in marine, freshwater, everything
have false feet, and marine forms have silica shells in them.
Okay. Only marine has silica. Okay.
Some of the organisms act as parasites also. For example, Entamoeba histolytica. Okay. So now we have seen about amoeboid protozoans. So now we will see about flagellated protozoans. So these flagellated protozoans can be free living or parasites.
These are completely parasites.
No. They are not completely parasites. No. No. All the protozoans are heterotrophs. Nothing can generate their own food.
Okay.
Protozoans itself, they are heterotrophs.
Heterotrophs.
Yes.
That's why I'm asking you if it is amoeba. They may ask amoeba whether this parasite or not. They will ask like that.
So they have not mentioned it is parasite. With their false feet, they can move food. Flagellated can be free living or it can be parasites.
Free living means?
Free living means without the depend of anything.
Then how it can take food?
Without being parasites.
Without being parasites. Flagellated, I can able to understand all these are heterotrophs. But here flagellated, you said some of them parasites and some of them free living. What is free living?
Free living in the sense not depending for shelter for other organisms.
Not for shelter. For food it will depend on others.
Food it will depend. It will also take food by itself.
Then it is not heterotroph.
It will take by itself, by its flagella, from surrounding organisms.
Okay.
Parasitic means depending on other organisms for food, shelter, for everything, and causing diseases like that. Flagellated can be free living. Free living in the sense it can be. It does not behave as parasites. It can.
So it can live separately.
It can live separately.
Oh, okay.
So it can be free living or parasites. And these flagellated protozoans have flagella. The name itself gives its meaning. It has flagella. And example of flagellated protozoans are Leishmania donovani.
How I can remember that? Leishmania
donovani. Leishmania donovani. That is one example, and trypanosoma is another example.
Okay. Leishmania
donovani.
Leishmania donovani and
Leishmania donovani is a parasite. It causes Kala Azar. It is also known as dum-dum fever in humans. Leishmania donovani. And the other example of flagellated protozoans are trypanosomas. They cause sleeping sickness in humans. Disease. This is also parasite.
Sleeping sickness.
Yes.
So the person who has this always sleep.
Yes.
Okay.
So this is flagellated protozoans. So next we will see about ciliated protozoans. So these ciliated protozoans have numerous number of cilia in them. The name itself gives the meaning. It has numerous cilia around many cilia. Around the cell it has many cilia around.
What is cilia?
Cilia is a kind of hair-like structure like flagella or small tiny hairs-like structure. Cilia is tiny hairs-like structure. So these ciliated protozoans are aquatic organisms.
So it will live in water.
So these ciliated protozoans are actively moving. It will always be moving. It will move very actively, because of numerous number of cilia around them.
Okay. Because of that, it cannot stable in one place, so it will keep on moving.
So it also have cavity in its structure. It also have a small cavity. So that cavity is called as gullet.
What is the use of that cavity?
To absorb food.
Okay.
So that gullet can absorb the food from outside. So it opens outside the cell surface, that cavity. So that is what is ciliated protozoans. It has a cavity called gullet, and they are aquatic, and they have numerous number of cilia around it. So next we will see about sporozoans. So sporozoans are organisms which have infectious spore-like stage in their life cycle. Like in their life cycle means after the fission of that sporozoans, it will be having like infectious stage.
Infectious stage.
It will infect other organisms in that spore-like stage.
Okay.
After reproduction, the firstly spores will appear, right? That spores will infect other organisms.
Okay.
So therefore it is known as sporozoans. So it also infects humans. Malarial parasites, it is called as malarial parasite, caused by Plasmodium. So that causes malaria in humans. That spore-like stage causes it will have like a life cycle, right? It splits, it reproduces, then after the spore-like stage appears. Particularly that spore-like stage infects or other organisms.
During that time it infects other organisms where it resides and it is the parasite. Okay.
Example, Plasmodium. It is an example of sporozoans. So it causes malaria in humans.
The Plasmodium is example of that.
Example of sporozoans. In ciliated sporozoans, the example is Paramecium. Paramecium.
Here you said some example. That I cannot understand. You different name use.
Yeah. Leishmania donovani and Trypanosoma. Leishmania donovani causes dum-dum fever or dum-dum fever.
So here it causes dum-dum fever, here it causes malaria.
Leishmania donovani causes dum-dum fever, whereas Trypanosoma causes sleeping sickness.
Okay, sleeping sickness and
is caused by Trypanosoma.
Okay. This is mainly in water.
Yeah.
Okay. This also is any diseases it causes?
No diseases.
No, it is not causing any disease. Okay.
That Paramecium is not causing any disease. Amoeboid protozoans causes disease.
What disease it
like Entamoeba histolytica, it causes disease.
What disease? Viewers, you can put what diseases that amoeboid Entamoeba causes some disease. You can please put it in the comment what disease it spreads. Okay.
So now you've seen Monera protista, and now we'll see about fungi. So fungi have different cell wall nature, made of its cell wall is made of chitin and polysaccharides.
Chitin?
Fungi, chitin and polysaccharides.
Oh, this fungi. Fungi has cell wall, chitin and
made of chitin and polysaccharides.
Okay.
So now we have seen about Monera and protista. Now we will see about fungi. So fungi has different cell wall nature, which is made up of chitin and polysaccharide.
Okay.
So there are 4 subtopics under fungi.
Here you have mentioned 5.
Yeah. No, algae will not come here. I have written by mistake. Yes. We'll just.
Okay.
So algae will not come under fungi. It will come under plant kingdom.
Okay.
So under fungi there are 4 subtopics: Phycomycetes, Ascomycetes, Basidiomycetes and Deuteromycetes. So now we will see generally about fungi. So what is fungi? We will see about general characteristics of fungi. So now fungi are heterotrophic organisms.
Okay. Here also heterotrophic.
Yeah, they are heterotrophic.
Okay.
And this is also heterotrophic. Yeah. Fungi generally they are completely heterotrophic. And these fungi are filamentous in nature.
So completely these classification, the kingdoms, they are classified based on cell wall only.
No, cell wall is based on cell wall. It was classified by Linnaeus.
Okay, so these 5 things based on cell wall, nucleus, based on all these things,
R.H. Whittaker.
So Whittaker classified. So one of that, okay. Based on all these findings.
characteristics.
Okay.
So these fungi are filamentous in nature.
Filament.
Filamentous, they will be
Okay.
like filamentous.
Vessels.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exception of yeast. Yeast is an unicellular,
Mhm.
so it cannot be filamentous. Except yeast, everything are filamentous.
Yeast is a fungi.
Yes.
Okay.
So they have a network of these filamentous organisms have long thread-like structure,
Okay.
which is known as hyphae.
Hmm.
So these hyphae, when they are in
So the fungi will be like this. You mean thread-like kind of thing? Is it like so?
fungi are filamentous. When they are having thread-like structures, they are known as hyphae.
Oh, hyphae. H-I,
Hy,
H-Y,
ph,
P-H,
ae,
A. Okay.
hyphae.
Okay.
These hyphae are thread-like structures.
So this thread-like, you are talking about fungi.
Fungi.
Okay. Okay.
So this thread-like structure is known as hyphae. When these thread-like structures are on a network, they are called mycelium. Network of hyphae are called as mycelium.
So network of
Hyphae are called
my
my celium, mycelium.
So all these things, a network of these threaded like hyphae, fungi are called mycelium.
Mycelium.
Okay.
So here some hyphae, that some thread-like structures in fungi, have continuous tubes filled with multinucleated cytoplasm. They'll
Continuous tubes. Okay. Continuous tubes.
tubes.
This one has continuous tubes filled with.
multinucleated.
Okay.
There will be more than one nuclei.
Okay.
Multinucleated cytoplasm. Cytoplasm is nothing but the surrounding fluid,
Okay.
and it will be there will be multiple nucleus in that.
Okay. Cytoplasm. These are all cytoplasm.
Cytoplasm is that surrounding fluid. So some hyphae have the name.
Some hyphae having tube like inside it has
Multiple nuclei.
That is cytoplasm. Okay.
Multiple nuclei surrounded by cytoplasm. So these surrounded by cytoplasm,
Okay.
they are known as coinocytic hyphae.
So this is coinocytic hyphae.
Coinocytic
Tube-like
hyphae.
and inside nuclei cytoplasm, that is called
Coinocytic hyphae.
hyphae.
So these fungi have 3 sexual stages.
3 stages.
3 stages.
3 sexual stages. Okay. Okay.
So the first one is plasmogamy.
Okay.
Fusion of 2 protoplasms. Fusion of 2 protoplasms of 2 cells. So the protoplasm first fuses.
So one cell, another cell. So protoplasm of
2 cells
2
fuses.
cells. Okay.
And then this is plasmogamy. The second one is karyogamy. Second stage is karyogamy, where the 2 nuclei of 2 cells fuses. After fusion of protoplasm,
Okay.
the nuclei of 2 cells fuses. So this is karyogamy. And then meiosis. Now after the fusion of 2 cells, it is a zygote. So now it produces spores through meiosis.
Okay.
Meiosis means through reduction division.
Okay.
It produces haploid spores. In this kind of fusion, in some fungi, the 2 cells fuse together and immediately results in 2n number of chromosomes. N number of a cell with m number of chromosomes and another cell with n number of chromosomes immediately fuses to become 2n number of chromosomes. There the nuclei are combined together. Immediately it combines. In some fungi, the 2 nuclei do not combine immediately, even though the protoplasms are combined. The 2 nuclei.
So protoplasms first combine, then after the nuclei is not combined. Not immediately.
Not immediately combined. That stage is known as N plus N stage, which is known as dikaryote stage.
Okay.
So it is dikaryophase. So this is generally about fungi and its reproduction. So after some time, that N plus N fuses together and becomes 2N.
Okay.
number of chromosomes. So now we'll
So three stages. One
three
is
stages,
the
plasmogamy,
plasma, second is
karyogamy,
karyogamy,
and
third
meiosis of zygote.
meiosis. Okay.
So now we'll see about in fungi there are 4 divisions.
We have discussed so many things in fungi, but not in Protista and Monera. Why?
So because in Monera there are these organisms are prokaryotic, which are so preliminary to eukaryotes, because they are prokaryotes and they do not have defined nucleus, and these are unicellular organisms. They have only single cell, and though because since they are unicellular organisms, they do not have many sexual stages. They have only DNA transfer from one cell to another cell.
So by DNA transferring, reproduction happens.
Sexual means of reproduction happens. Fungi are multicellular organisms.
These are all multicellular.
Multicellular and unicellular.
Both multicellular
And
and
unicellular.
Unicellular, that is
Yeast
is the
and
unicellular.
yeast is unicellular.
Okay.
So therefore there are many stages here.
Okay.
So there are 4 kinds of fungi, 4 types of fungi. They are phycomycetes, ascomycetes, basidiomycetes and deuteromycetes. So now we will see about phycomycetes. So these phycomycetes can, some phycomycetes are aquatic, some organisms are aquatic, and some are some are present in decaying wood, and some are present as parasites on plants.
These three areas is available. One is in aquatic, this water.
It is available, and some are available in decayed wood.
Decayed wood, okay.
And some are available as parasites on plants.
Okay.
So mycelium and phycomycetes are aseptate and coinocytic. There are
what is
aseptate? Aseptate means there are no these mycelium are not separated.
Mycelium
of phycomycetes
is nothing but
thread-like structures.
Thread-like structures of
a network of hyphae is known as mycelium.
Okay.
So they are not separated. Like you can see septate in sugarcane, like nodes of sugarcane.
Okay. Oh, it is joined.
The structure of like that is known as septate.
Okay.
So these phycomycetes are aseptate, do not have that structures.
Okay.
And aseptate and coinocytic, they have multiple nuclei in the tube-like hyphae.
Oh, this is okay.
Aseptate and coinocytic, and these phycomycetes. In these phycomycetes, the asexual reproduction is through zoospores and aplanospores. So zoospores are motile and aplanospores are non-motile. These 2 kinds are asexual methods of asexual reproduction.
So here 2 ways of
asexual reproduction, that is zoospores and aplanospores.
Okay, zoospores and
aplanospores.
Okay.
So these spores are produced inside the organisms, that is endogenous.
Okay, endogenous means it is reproducing inside the organism.
It is produced inside the
organism. Okay.
And sexual means of phycomycetes is fusion of 2 gametes, male gamete and female gamete. Those 2 fuses, that is known as sexual reproduction, sexual mode of reproduction, and the fusion of those gametes is known as zygospores.
Okay.
So by asexual reproduction by zoospores and aplanospores, and of sexual reproduction is of zygospores.
So sexual as well as asexual.
Asexual.
Both are
available in phycomycetes. Asexual reproduction are produced endogenous.
Okay.
So examples of phycomycetes are mucor, rhizopus.
So mucor,
rhizopus and albuco.
Okay.
Here rhizopus is also known as bread mold, and albuco is a parasitic fungi on mustard plant.
Okay.
So this is about phycomycetes. So now we will see about ascomycetes. So ascomycetes is also known as sac fungi.
What is sac fungi?
It is these fungi is also known as sac fungi.
Okay.
The word ascomycetes, these fungi are also known as sac fungi.
Okay.
It is because of the sac-like structure present in it. It will come under the reproduction. So these ascomycetes are some ascomycetes are multicellular. Example penicillium. And some ascomycetes are unicellular.
So here also
Multicellular
as well
and
as
unicellular.
Okay.
So some are multicellular. Example penicillium. And some are unicellular. Example yeast and Saccharomyces.
Oh, that yeast coming here. Okay.
Yeast and Saccharomyces. Saccharomyces is also unicellular.
Okay.
And now these ascomycetes may be saprophytic, it can be saprophytic, and it can be parasitic, and it can be caprophilous. Caprophilous are fungi growing on dung.
Okay.
So these three kinds are available in ascomycetes. And mycelium
So
of
ascomyces, there are three types available. What are the?
which are saprophytic
Saprophytic. Somewhere also we have discussed about saprophytic.
in slime molds.
In slime molds. Okay.
Saprophytic
So saprophytic means it is
it gets its energy by decay.
by decay.
By decay.
Okay.
Saprophytic and parasitic and caprophilous.
Caprophilous. Okay.
So mycelium of ascomycetes are branched and septate. So these have structures like sugarcane. Mycelium are branched, it is branched and septate. Asexual spores of ascomycetes are conidia. It is known as conidia. So
Here
asexual
the asexual pores are
zoospores and aplanospores, whereas zoospores are motile and aplanospores
what
are
is
non
motile?
motile. It can move.
Okay.
And non-motile it cannot move. So ascomycetes, the method of asexual reproduction is through conidia.
Conidia. Okay.
These conidia are exogenous, outside organism,
So here
whereas in
inside.
asexual reproduction of phycomycetes is endogenous.
Asexual. Whereas
Asexual.
asexual is
Sexual is not, it is the fusion of two gametes.
okay.
So here in ascomycetes, asexual reproduction is endogenous. Exogenous.
It's outside.
It's outside.
Okay.
And these conidia are produced on special mycelium known as
Special mycelium.
conidiophores.
Conidiophores.
These spores are produced on special mycelium. These conidia are produced on special mycelium known as conidiophores. So these conidia, after germination, they produce an independent new mycelium.
Okay.
This is about asexual reproduction of ascomycetes. Now we will talk about sexual spores of ascomycetes. So these spores, which are sexual, are produced endogenous
Okay.
in sac-like asci. That is what is also known as sac fungi.
Sac fungi. Yes. Sac. What is this?
SAC.
SAC. Sac fungi. Okay. So this is sexual.
Yeah.
Huh? Asexual. That is different. That
Yeah.
we have discussed. Okay.
These sexual spores are produced endogenous, and that is exogenous.
This is
Exogenous and this is endogenous.
Okay.
So examples of ascomycetes are Aspergillus, Claviceps, and Neurospora.
Okay.
Here Neurospora is used for many genetical purposes, biochemical work, and in research field, etc. Neurospora are used. And examples are Aspergillus, Claviceps, and Neurospora. Neurospora is used in genetic work and everything. And here the other examples are morels and truffles, which are edible fungi.
We can eat it.
Yeah,
What are all the edible fungi?
morels and truffles.
Morels and truffles.
Truffles.
Sure, can we eat it, those fungi?
They are edible.
Okay.
So now we'll see about basidiomycetes. So mycelium of basidiomycetes are branched and septate. Here also the mycelium is branched
Like
and
separate.
septate.
Separate myceliums are branched.
Branched. It is branched and septate like sugarcane. So asexual spores of basidiomycetes are not found. Vegetative.
So asexual, no.
No asexual spores.
Okay.
And vegetative reproduction is through fragmentation. Each fragment grows into a new fungi. So vegetative reproduction is available. It is through fragmentation. Asexual spores are not found.
Why
And
we call it as vegetative reproduction?
Vegetative reproduction is through
Okay. So that we will discuss later. What? So you continue with that.
Vegetative reproduction.
Okay, leave it.
Vegetative reproduction is the part of anything can grow into a new organism.
Okay. Part
of that fungi can grow into new organism.
Is it?
Yes.
Okay.
So a kind of vegetation is fragmentation.
Oh.
So vegetative reproduction is seen in many plants like banana.
Yeah.
The stem of banana can grow into
that is called vegetative
reproduction.
Okay. Okay.
So basidiomycetes have vegetative reproduction, no sexual spores, and sex organs are also not found in basidiomycetes. So these undergo plasmogamy, fusion of two cells, fusion of two protoplasm, plasmogamy, and result in dikaryon. We have already seen generally dikaryon is N plus N.
So
after the fusion, the second stage, dikaryophase. So N plus N. After some time it fuses. After some time the nucleus of two cells fuses.
Okay. So that is called dikaryon.
Dikaryophase. That N plus N stage.
Dikaryophase.
That N plus N stage is known as dikaryophase. So plasmogamy, by plasmogamy the two cells fuses and the two nucleus remains as N plus N, and after some time the two nucleus fuses together in basidium, in a structure called basidium. It fuses and then after fusion it produces spores.
Okay.
So these basidia, it produces spores called basidia. So these basidia are arranged in fruiting bodies called basidiocarps. And examples of basidiomycetes are agaricus, which is also known as mushrooms. We can eat that.
Oh, mushrooms.
Mushrooms.
Okay.
Agaricus are mushrooms. And Ustilago is also known as mud. And Puccinia, which is known as rust fungus.
Rust?
Fungus.
Okay.
So examples of basidiomycetes are agaricus, Puccinia, and Ustilago. So now we will see about deuteromycetes. So deuteromycetes, in deuteromycetes, only asexual or vegetative phases are known still now.
So only asexual
and vegetative phases are known.
And vegetative phases. Okay.
No sexual stages are known till now. If the sexual stages of deuteromycetes are discovered, it will be moved to these three.
So maybe
any of these
three they will put actually. Still we have not identified. Okay.
If it is identified, it will be according to the characteristic of sexual reproduction. It will be moved to any of these three divisions. So asexual spores of deuteromycetes are conidia, which we have already seen in ascomycetes. They are also asexual spores is through conidia. And the mycelium is septate and branched, and some of deuteromycetes are saprophytes or parasites. And large number of deuteromycetes are decomposers of litter, like decomposers of leaves and twigs. So examples of deuteromycetes are Alternaria, Calyptotrichum, and Trichoderma. Alternaria.
Examples of this
deuteromycetes.
What are that?
Alternaria, Calyptotrichum, and Trichoderma. So we have discussed about three kingdoms: Kingdom Monera, Protista, and Fungi. In fungi we have seen all these. And the other two kingdoms, which is kingdom Plantae and kingdom
This
Animalia,
one, Plantae and Animalia.
which are dealt in separate chapters, plant kingdom and animal kingdom. They are the succeeding chapters. We will be discussing about plant kingdom and animal kingdom.
This is separate and this is separate.
Yes.
Okay, fine.
So there
That's
are
all about biological classification.
no, there are some organisms which are not classified.
So still organisms are there which is not undergoing. Okay, fine. What are all that organisms?
So they are viruses.
Oh, viruses nowhere present now here in this classification. Okay, viruses.
Viroids
Okay.
and lichens.
Okay.
So they why they have not classified viruses in these classifications? It is because they are not truly living. Viruses are not truly living.
Truly living in the sense that
In the
it is
outside-
not having any cell and all.
It has cell, but it seems inert. There is no metabolic activities in it. Outside the body. Outside the organism. Outside any organism.
Okay.
The viruses remains inert, crystalline in structure.
Okay, as it is, it will be like okay.
Once it enters, it
Yeah.
so there are some organisms which are not classified under these 5 kingdoms.
Okay.
So these organisms are viruses, viroids and lichens.
So the viruses are all not having any cell wall.
Yeah, they are not having any cell wall, and they are not truly living organisms because they remain inert outside the organisms of outside the body of organism.
Okay.
So these viruses are non-cellular and they have inert crystalline structure outside the body, outside the cell, and once they start infect a cell, they take over the metabolism of reproduction of the host cell, the host machinery, and replicate themselves by killing the host.
So it is attaching with the other cell
and takes takes this machinery of that cell and
control of all the activities are in the cell. Okay.
and it reproduces by killing the host.
So it will kill and it himself reproduces. Okay.
So this is about viruses. So these viruses were given a name. So these viruses are also known as poisonous fluid, venom or poisonous fluid. So the name viruses was given by Pasteur D.J. Ivanovsky.
Who is?
He is a scientist. He is a scientist.
Okay.
He gave the name viruses.
Okay.
And the other these viruses are smaller than bacteria,
Okay.
but larger than mycoplasmas. Mycoplasmas are organisms which are very smaller
So
in the world,
larger than
in the earth.
mycoplasms.
Mycoplasmas.
Mycoplasma. Larger than mycoplasmas. And smaller than bacteria.
Bacteria.
Okay.
So these mycoplasmas do not have cell wall, and they survive without oxygen. Mycoplasmas.
Okay.
So these viruses are larger than mycoplasmas. And M.W. Beijerinck is also a scientist.
M.W.
Beijerinck.
Okay.
He is also a scientist. He gave a name to these to this poisonous fluid as Contagium vivum fluidum.
Okay.
And other scientist W.M. Stanley, so he said that it can be crystallized, and the crystal consists of proteins. These viruses, the crystals of these viruses are contains proteins.
So three
scientists gave their own opinion about these viruses.
Okay.
Firstly, the name virus was given by Pasteur D.J. Ivanovsky.
Okay, he just gave the name by identifying what kind of a thing, some fluid, what you say?
By identifying poisonous fluid.
Poisonous fluid.
Which was responsible for mosaic disease of tobacco. mosaic disease of tobacco. He
Tobacco.
first observed that disease, and that he observed a poisonous fluid and gave a name as virus. Pasteur DJ Ivanovsky.
Okay.
So next scientist M.W. Bajerny gave a name Contagium vivum fluidum. And then the next scientist W.M. Stanley gave said that these viruses can be crystallized, and these crystals consist of proteins.
Proteins. Okay.
So this is about viruses. So these viruses can have either DNA or RNA in it, genome, genetic material as DNA or RNA. So those viruses which infect plants, plant infecting viruses, have single stranded RNA.
So stranded is nothing but like this, na?
Yeah, single stranded.
Like this.
Yeah. That is double stranded.
This is one strand and this is
another strand.
Another, maybe two strands. Maybe this is one strand, this is one strand. So both called two strands.
Two strands, double stranded.
So this is double stranded.
Double stranded.
Okay.
So the viruses which are the viruses infecting plants are single stranded RNA.
Okay. Single stranded RNA.
And the viruses which infect animals are single or double stranded RNA or double stranded DNA.
So single as well as double stranded.
It can be single stranded RNA, or double stranded RNA, or double stranded DNA.
Single stranded DNA is there?
No.
Okay.
There is no single stranded DNA.
Oh, only RNA they have single stranded and double stranded and double stranded DNA. Okay.
So animal virus, those viruses which infect animals are these three kind of can have these three kind of.
Whether what type of stranded it is, single stranded, double stranded RNA or double stranded DNA?
It is single stranded RNA.
Is it? Are you sure? Okay. Okay.
Single stranded RNA than D.
I don't know, maybe.
Double stranded RNA.
Okay.
I think double stranded RNA.
Double stranded RNA. Okay, let us check.
போட்டு பார்த்துக்கலாம் கூகுளில் பாருங்க அதுவும் சொல்லிடலாம்.
Just we can continue it. Maybe in the comment section they will post whether it is double stranded RNA. The COVID-19 is single stranded RNA. But you are sure that is RNA?
That is RNA.
RNA virus. Double stranded or single stranded? That we have a small confusion there. Okay, continue that.
So viruses which infect bacteria.
Viruses will infect bacteria. Okay.
So these viruses are double stranded DNA.
Okay. So bacteria, the virus which is affecting bacteria is only double stranded DNA bacteria. The DNA viruses. Okay.
The protein coat of these viruses have a protein coat. They do not have cell wall, they have protein coat. So these are made up of capsid. Some viruses have a protein coat made of capsid. So it single structure.
It's a kind of structure like this, huh?
Yeah. That is one capsid, and together it is known as capsomers.
Okay, capsomers.
It covers the genetic material. Whatever genetic material inside, it covers outside, the protein coat. So this is known as capsomers. And examples of viruses which causes diseases are mumps, smallpox, herpes, influenza, AIDS, and COVID-19. So these are the viruses which causes diseases.
Okay.
So now we'll see about viruses. Now we'll see about viroids. So viroids are also symptoms in plants. If virus affects a plant, the plant shows many symptoms like mosaic formation, leaf rolling and curling, and vein clearing, and dwarfing and stunted growth. So these are the symptoms, normal symptoms which virus affected plants. And now we will go to viroids. So viroids are other organisms. So they were discovered by T.O. Diener.
That scientist discovered
viroids. So these viroids are also infectious and smaller than viruses. but larger than mycoplasmas. Mycoplasmas are the smallest very smallest organisms in it. So these viroids cause, for example, these viroids causes potato spindle tuber disease in potato plants.
So viroids normally we can found it only in the plants, not in animals. So the examples what we were discussing
No.
the plants.
It will infect also. It will also infect animals.
Okay.
So, example of infectious viroids. The infection caused by viroids is potato spindle tuber disease.
Okay.
And these viroids have free RNA in it.
Okay.
Free RNA without nucleus. The RNA is free.
Okay.
And these viruses do not have a protein coat in them.
Oh, it is not having any protein coat. Viroid. But viruses having the protein coat.
So RNA of viroids are lower molecular weight compared to viruses.
Because it is not having protein coat. So it is very low. Okay.
So this is about viroids.
Any viroid diseases animals, do you know? You said potato. Is there any viroids causing some diseases in animals?
So there are other kind of organisms.
So you said viroids. Other one is
prions. There are other kind of organisms known as prions.
You earlier said some other thing, right? Virus, viroid and some other thing.
Lichen. After this I will discuss about lichens. So there are some organisms known as prions. So prions, so these prions have abnormally folded protein.
Abnormally
folded protein.
Okay.
And these prions causes neurological diseases.
Okay.
So these prions are similar in size to viruses. They are similar in size to viruses. So diseases of prions are, for example, are bovine spongiform encephalopathy, BSE, bovine spongiform encephalopathy is an example of disease caused by prions. So it is caused in cattle. This disease is also known as mad cow disease.
Mad cow disease. So what happens if diseases affect the cows? Why it is called mad cow?
Maybe these prions causes neurological diseases. Maybe some disorder in that nerve signals, and it cannot. So these, this mad cow, we have seen about mad cow disease. So analogous variant of that disease occur in humans.
Okay. It affects humans also.
Which is known as C.R. Jacob disease.
C.R. Jacob.
Jacob disease.
Why C.R. Jacob? Some kind of a name of
C.R.
Okay.
That is the name of the disease which occur in humans.
Okay. Not mad human disease.
No.
Okay.
So this is about prions. So now we will see about lichens. So first we saw about viruses, and then viroids, prions, and now lichens. So lichens are a combination of two organisms, which is fungi and algae. So it contains both algal component and fungal component. So algal component, algae is autotrophic. It can synthesize its own food. So this algal component is known as phycobiont in these lichens. Fungal component is known as mycobionts. So these comprise to form lichens.
Okay.
Fungi
so
is generally fungi comprise to form lichens.
Okay.
So generally algae is autotrophic and fungi is heterotrophic. They cannot synthesize their own food.
Okay.
So fungi are dependent on algae for its food. So algae provides food to fungi, and thereby fungi provides shelter, and it absorbs water and other nutrients for its partner algae.
Okay.
So algae provides food to fungi and
algae. How algae? Because fungi is getting food from outside, right?
Fungi is heterotrophic. Yes.
Heterotrophic.
It gets food from outside. These both are associated, right? Okay. So instead of going outside, it can get by its nearby fungi, algae, right?
Okay. Oh, it's getting from algae only.
Algae only.
Oh.
Algae only providing food for fungi. Instead,
Okay.
fungi is giving shelter and
Okay.
absorbs nutrients and water
Okay, okay.
for algae. It gives
Okay.
to algae.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the association which is known as lichens.
Okay.
So these lichens are pollution indicators.
Mm.
They cannot grow in polluted areas.
Okay. So pollution indicators.
Indicators.
Okay. Okay. If there is a pollution, it won't be present.
So if we saw any lichens around our environment, that is very
Clean.
clean and natural. There are no pollution.
Okay.
Anything. So this is about
Great, and we have discussed so many things about biological classification, Monera, Protista, fungi, plant animalia. That is two different chapters altogether. And some of the examples still I'm unable to recall, but anyhow you explained in a better way. Can you again just a quick recap on what we have discussed in these things? Can you tell me?
Yeah, there are 5 kingdoms
Yes.
totally: Monera, Protista, fungi, plantae and animalia.
Okay.
So Monera is of Archaebacteria and Eubacteria. அது ரூல்ல என்னென்ன வருதுன்னு சொல்ல முன்னாடி Archaebacteria and Eubacteria is again classified as cyanobacteria, chemosynthetic autotrophs and heterotrophic bacteria. And Protista is divided into 4. They are
So there we have
chrysophytes.
discussed about diatoms.
Diatoms, silica,
yeah. Fine. That's
And then dinoflagellates, that is Red Sea,
That is a red color
color
sea,
sea.
that
Then
thing, okay.
Euglena,
Okay.
protein layer called pellicle, they do not have cell wall. And slime molds, which are saprophytic.
saprophytic that we have discussed.
And
decaying plants, okay.
protozoans, which are divided into 4: amoeboid protozoans,
Amoeba,
flagellated, ciliated, and sporozoans.
Okay.
And then fungi. So there are 4 divisions under fungi: Phycomycetes, Ascomycetes, Basidiomycetes, and Deuteromycetes.
Okay.
So and then plantae and animalia.
Okay.
And then viruses, viroids, prions, lichens.
Thank you. Thank you. And friends, thank you for watching biological classification. So here we would like to bring the contents to you as a discussion forum, kind of the thing. So you just leave your comments so that we can improve further, how we can improve the discussion further more, so that you can able to understand it clearly. As well as please like the video and share this YouTube video to your friends, and subscribe and press the bell icon for any other further notifications and all. Thank you so much.
Thank you.